Welcome to Make Food, Make Love, the cooking and relationship show strictly for guys. In this series, we'll show you how to make simple, delicious dishes for your partner. The show is split into two parts. First, we have Make Food, where we show you how to make her fall in love with you every day. And second, we have Make Love, where we show you how to make her stay in love with you forever. So with that, let's get cooking.
It's so good to see you back on another episode of Make Food, Make Love. And in today's episode, we are going to be making tandoori, cauliflower and chickpea curry. Now, of course, we are going to need some cauliflower. So here I've cut some cauliflower, about half a head of cauliflower into small florets. And now we're going to marinate our cauliflower. Now to do that, I've taken about 5 tablespoons of yogurt, plain yogurt, and we're going to be adding in some spices. So let's go ahead and add in a teaspoon of some turmeric, and then we've got a teaspoon or a teaspoon and a half of paprika, and teaspoon or a teaspoon and a half of some cayenne pepper. Now, I've gone ahead and I've also roasted some cumin seeds and some coriander seeds, which I have in my mortar here, which is a grinding tool which you can use. If you want, and if you don't have one of those, you can just use a cup on a very hard surface and to actually grind down your spices. So I'm just grinding down now my coriander seeds and my cumin seeds. And you're going to need about 1 teaspoon of each. So once that's ground down, add that to our yogurt. Take a teaspoon or tablespoon and give that a nice mix. So it's very similar to what you would do if you are having a braai and you're marinating your meat. So here we're not going to be marinating any meat, but we're going to be marinating our cauliflower. So let's add this marinade to our cauliflower, and then you're going to just give that a mix and make sure that every single floret is covered in that marinade. Once you've done that, you're going to let this sit aside for about 10 to 15 minutes just to absorb all of that flavor. Now, if you want, you could put this into an oven, but what I'm going to do today is that I'm going to fry it down in my frying pan. So once you're happy that your florets are nicely coated like I have here, I'm going to take on this beautiful orange color because of all the spices that you've used. So let's just let this sit for about 10 to 15 minutes, and then we'll just fry it down. It's been about 15 minutes that our cauliflower is nicely sitting in this marinade, absorbing all of that goodness and that taste. Now, after 15 minutes, what do? Well, we're gonna grab ourselves a frying pan, turn on our stove, and to that, let's add in a tiny bit of oil. And now we're gonna fry down our cauliflower until it becomes almost slightly charred on bits and pieces of it. So you want to hear that sizzle, and do not be afraid to get some black marks on your cauliflower. You want to char it, and you want to fry it down really beautifully. And after 10 minutes, this is what you will be left with. We're going to turn off our stove and remove this from the heat and get ready for the second part of preparing this dish. With our cauliflower ready, it's now time to prepare our curry. Now I've got myself here a pot, and you want a sort of deep pot because there's a lot of liquid that's going into this curry. Now to our pot, let's add in a tiny bit of oil and then a little bit of butter, so about a tablespoon of butter. Just allow that to melt down, and then we add in one medium-sized onion, 2 cloves of garlic, and a thumb-sized piece of ginger which I've chopped up. So everything has been nicely chopped up and prepared. Give that a stir. Allow your onions to sweat down. Once our onions are starting to brown down a bit, let's go ahead and add in a teaspoon of Kashmiri chili powder, which is going to give our curry a very beautiful red color. Now, here I have 4 chopped tomato, or if you want, you could use 1 can of tomato. So that goes in. Just to help our tomatoes break down, let's add in a little bit of salt. And to cut down the acidity of our tomatoes, we're going to be adding in a nice tablespoon and a half of sugar. Now you don't have to use sugar, you can use about 2 tablespoons of honey. Just going to allow my tomatoes to fry down for about 3 minutes. And after 3 minutes, we're going to be adding in a 1.5 cups of vegetable stock. So that's 1 cup and a half a cup. Give that one more stir. Lower down the heat of your stove and allow this to thicken up and cook for a further 20 to 25 minutes. And after about 20 minutes, our curry has now begun to thicken up, with our tomato now infusing with our vegetable stock, and our onion and ginger and garlic starting to break down and creating an intense flavor the longer that you allow this to cook. Now with our curry almost ready, I'm going to go ahead and grab some fresh coriander leaves, and I'm going to roughly chop this up, adding in about half a bunch of coriander leaves to our curry. That goes in. And here I have 1 can of washed and drained chickpeas. It's so important that you wash them to remove all of the gas that exists in the can. Turning up our heat again. Adding in a bit of salt for the chickpea and a bit of salt for the cauliflower, which we're going to add in next. Let's add in a little bit of pepper, fresh ground black pepper. And now let's go ahead and add in our tandoori cauliflower, which we prepared earlier on. Now this is gonna sit on your stove for another 5 minutes before we can serve. Our curry is now done and we can turn off our stove. let's plate out. I would love to actually have this on its own, but today I'm serving this on a bed of basmati rice. I'll be serving this with a few pieces of red chili. So there you have it, my tandoori cauliflower and chickpea curry. This took longer than your average curry, but I'm hoping that the flavors are going to be much more intense. In fact, just smelling this curry, I can already tell you that it's very spicy, but also very hearty. It's almost a curry that you're going to have on a very cold day, or if you're not feeling too well. Let's go ahead and taste the curry with a bit of rice. Leaving out the chickpea and the cauliflower, I just want to taste the base, the curry itself. The curry tastes like a very hearty and healthy tomato broth or soup. And after 5 minutes, that chickpea has absorbed all of the flavor of the curry like a sponge. So when you bite into the chickpea, you get the burst of the flavor of the curry in your mouth. Let's go ahead and taste the cauliflower. I like that the cauliflower has a very nice crunch and bite to it. It's not cooked down until so tender that it just melts in your mouth, actually biting into a nice piece of cauliflower. Very similar to how you would bite into a piece of chicken. So healthy, so warm, so healing, brilliant for a cold day, brilliant if you just want to heat up your girlfriend, if you know what I mean. So give this tandoori cauliflower and chickpea curry a try and let me know how it turns out. And I'll see you next week for another episode of Make Food, Make Love. Until next time, happy cooking!